Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good day.
That was Brandon.
Yep.
That was not me.
I'm just cracking up a little bit.
Just about called us the Nerd Alert podcast, which is not the name of our show.
No,
But
but
it
I
would be
like it.
accurate.
I wish we could, but that's
The
so,
Nerd Alert.
Yeah,
I'm
good
sure that's
thing.
probably like
No.
trademark.
We are the
copyrighted.
Nerd Factor,
We are those
a
people.
library podcast
Hello.
from the Madison County Public Library.
Good
That's where
morning.
we hail. Hello. How's it going, everybody?
You know, I am a little tired today. I think
Holy
we all
cow,
are.
Like
I think we are. I mean, we had, get pumped music going before.
we did. We had some hype
I'm
music.
still pumped.
Yeah.
Going
I
on.
mean,
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the word. Hype music.
Yeah.
Hype music.
I'm pumped
Yeah.
to be here with
Everybody's
you
getting
guys, but I'm not. I like my energy is like do. Like I need another Duracell.
Yeah,
which
I don't
is
know.
a rare
Like,
thing.
I was asleep by like 10:30 last night. I was out,
Oh
which
man,
is
so jealous.
I know it was incredibly early for me. I'm not usually asleep that early. But I was
Yeah.
sitting there. My husband and I have started watching Deep Space Nine.
Okay, Benjamin
Together.
Sisko, go. That's my favorite.
I'm struggling.
Oh,
I'm
are you?
struggling. I'm
You just
struggling.
lost friend points, April.
I'm sorry. I love Star Trek.
Mhm,
I would say I'm a. These might be fighting words, but I would say I'm a Trekkie over a Star Wars fan.
right on, right on. Say, man.
But
That's your nerd
I'm-
factor.
there we go. But I'm struggling. We're only 2 episodes in, but I'm just like, oh my god, the acting.
It
Guys.
starts slow.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
We are all. I mean, I swear to God, the guy's playing Shatner. He's overacting every gesture that he's making, and he's enunciating his words
That's
oddly
excellent
with
Shatner delivery there.
interesting
Really is.
pauses. It was intentional.
Well, but I mean, I think that the first couple episodes of anything is just not good.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
goodness.
It's very difficult.
Well, and
to get into
also,
stuff. I mean,
I love you, honey. He loves this show. And so I'm trying really hard not to.
You're taking one for the team.
I am. I am. Well,
All
I mean,
right.
we watched my show that I love, and now we're watching his because I just introduced him to Stranger Things because it's coming back out.
Yes.
I don't know
Oh,
how
man.
he missed
I was
this
just gonna
last
say,
summer.
how did
He
he
missed
not watch
Stranger
that?
Things?
He didn't
Yeah.
watch it last summer.
Thomas. Is his
Well,
name
I was
full
so
name Thomas?
busy. I was so busy with Into the Woods, and he was,
Okay.
running the house and taking care of the kids and
Sure
everything.
enough,
so
sure
we
enough.
didn't
have time
really
to
watch
watch
it.
TV.
And so like I would watch it in my spare time, like as I was doing other things, and so he completely missed it. And so I was like, okay, you need to watch this show, and he
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
But one of the fun things that I do when we watch shows together is if it's something that I've already seen, he'll ask me questions, and I'll just look at him. I don't answer.
Oh, you're a torturous
anything.
person.
I'm so bad about that though.
Oh.
Like I ask questions the whole time
And
Me too,
yeah, he
for
asks
sure.
questions
until
the
I
entire
am
time.
I'm shut down.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I just don't answer anything, and or if I'll go, I'm not going to tell you anything. He goes, I know, but I'm still asking.
Just
Listen,
watch the show, dude.
you guys, of the people in this room, I would claim that I'm the worst at this, especially if it's like a property that I really love. God help you if you ever watch the Matrix trilogy in the same room as me.
Really?
Because I know I will have a Descartes text in my hand, and I will be pushing pause and citing quotes from various
That sounds
philosophical
good.
Plato's Republic. I will be like, look, it's right here. Being unplugged from the Matrix is chapter 3. Like it's not. It's a real.
You know what?
I'm
I
passionate
actually might be interested in that,
about
though,
it.
because I like The Matrix, and I've seen all of the movies several times. So I might actually be interested in that. But if it's something I've never seen, I don't want anybody ruining the surprise for me.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I don't want any of the spoilers.
Sure.
Rick, who works here at the Madison County Public Library, was threatening to give me Game of Thrones spoilers because there was a huge leak, and so I told him that I was going to leave my dishes in the sink. He says, if you don't wash your dishes, I'm going to give you Game of Thrones spoilers. Of course, I was
That's
going to wash
funny.
my dishes anyway, but I was like, don't you dare,
That's good.
because I want to be surprised. I want to know. I want to experience it as it is happening.
Yeah.
I've recently been listening to a lot of like remixes and supercuts of the Game of Thrones, of the Stranger Things theme song.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Like there's this guy.
That whole soundtrack is great.
It's so
is.
good.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's so good.
fantastic.
I think it's just one guy. I could be wrong about this, but he goes by Girl Talk, right? And the only thing this dude does is remixes of other songs.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like this whole catalog of Stranger Things theme song remixes, and they are all amazing.
Oh wow.
Like Get Up and Dance, Shake Your Booty. I recommend them.
Maybe that's our hype.
Yeah,
music
that should be our hype
for
music.
Right
next
on.
week.
It's getting hot in here. That's one of them.
Oh wow, that's
It's
cool.
hot in here plus Stranger Things. It's awesome.
That's kind of cool.
Mhm.
That is cool.
All right. Well, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a pretty exciting weekend.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
tell,
you
do tell.
did.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. Actually, not more than kind of. I'm quite jealous.
So I went to D.C.
Oh, that's
Friday and Saturday.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, now you're jealous too. Now that you
Facebook
remember.
told me.
I
I
went
thought.
to the National Book Fair.
Okay.
It's called the National Book Festival, I believe. I've said
Okay.
Book Fair all weekend just because the Kentucky Book Fair, which is
Yeah.
the reason why I went. So we went to a reception at the Library of Congress. Have y'all been there before?
No.
I have passed by it on the sidewalk.
Well, me too. Yeah, for
I was
sure.
like,
Yeah,
Hi.
actually, I had never actually been in before.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really go. So there's two different buildings, Jefferson Building, Madison Building.
Okay.
Jefferson Building is like, if you look up Library of Congress online, that's what you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
The Madison Building is not exactly like it's more meeting room space, if you will. Like there are also
Wow, a whole
offices,
building of meeting room space.
pretty much.
Wow.
Well, the small part that I saw anyway. I mean, like you walk in and there's basically airport security.
Yeah, that's so, man, for sure.
That
Yeah.
I completely
Yeah.
understand.
And then you just basically get on the elevator and find the room that you're going to. We were in kind of like a big ballroom type of thing.
Huh.
So we went to this Center for the Book reception. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
Kentucky has one.
No.
No.
Center for the Book.
Sorry, I'm trying to take my medicine on my allergies, and I'm trying to be quiet, but I keep putting my mic down and to talk.
okay.
We know how April gets if she doesn't take her medicine.
You do. You have
Indeed.
no idea.
I don't really know what that meant.
So each state has a center of the book, and up until right now, I believe the Kentucky Department of Library and Archives housed ours, and now the Humanities Council is going to house it. So now that I bring it up on the podcast and we are actually recording, I'm not actually sure what the center of the book is.
Well, I'm kind of wondering
ask you what it was.
So,
what is the book?
I'm all cool. Yeah, awesome story. I
story.
don't
Great job.
know what it is.
Great
I
job.
met the guy that created them.
Okay.
Well, that's cool.
So these are so if I could ask, there are many centers for the book, or is it
There are
center
centers
of the,
for the.
It's
Hold
around
on.
page 50.
It's center for the book.
I don't have time for
wow.
your citations,
Wow.
April.
Pardon the pun.
Oh, you yokel, you!
Oh, good thing I'm local.
Man, that is
So the center for the book. Let's see. Okay.
All right.
It promotes books, libraries, literacy and reading,
okay.
poetry, and literature.
Okay.
It includes a diverse. I don't have my glasses on. This is extremely small print.
Right.
So, diverse range of events, series, lectures, partnerships, prizes, contests, and awards. So I guess just kind of
So
like
it's
what we do.
Yeah, so it's basically just another foundation or center for promoting literacy and
Yes.
reading and
Yes.
So-
appreciation of writing in all forms, etc.
Yes.
Is there
I
one in
think-
every state? Is that how this
Yeah.
works? Or-
There's
okay.
one in every state.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It started, gosh, like 40 years ago, I want to say.
Oh wow,
And now it is in every state.
Hmm.
The guy
more than
that
one a year.
the guy that brought it to life, I mean, he was the sweetest person I've ever met.
Yeah.
And we talked to him for a long time, and his wife is a librarian at the Smithsonian.
Oh, that's
right
cool.
So
on.
how
Okay,
awesome are
sure.
they?
No, I mean,
Seriously,
power couple,
Right?
Like, yeah.
And they've been married
Relationship goals.
60 years or something like that. I mean, they were just so cool.
Wow.
like a real life library man and woman, like super,
have capes.
Yes,
superhero.
they
They have
are a
capes
real
and
life
everything.
library man and woman.
Oh wait, do you guys not know about Library Man? Do you remember Library Man?
No, I remember like the only book superhero thing that I remember from when I was a kid was like Salty, but it was Psalty, and he was a Bible.
Punner.
Yes,
He was a Bible punner.
He was
Basalti?
and yeah,
Basalti,
but he had like a kids show and everything, and he was the hero on it. And there was also Bible Man, but I
remember
that's what I
Bible
remember
Man.
from when I was a kid.
Well, so Library Man was a superhero whose home base was the Madison County Public Library. I'm really kind of disappointed
Here?
that you guys don't remember Library Man. No, Library Man would go especially to elementary schools and various children's programs.
So
and
was
daycares.
it a made up Madison County Public Library?
No, Library Man was me for like 2 years. I had
Wait.
a uniform and a cape and an L on my chest.
Okay,
You-
so
And Dr.
This would have
Seuss.
been before my time.
this is not before my time.
No, it
Yeah,
would
I've
not
been
be
here
before
longer
either
than
of
both
your
of y'all.
times. I don't think.
Really?
I don't remember this at all.
I don't remember.
Library-
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Right?
Library man would wear boxer shorts, Dr. Seuss boxer shorts outside of his pants, and he would come into like daycares and would share books and had a theme song. Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Please.
I feel like I remember.
I feel like I wish that you guys could see my face right now because it's just completely incredulous.
I'm really disappointed that nobody remembers. I'm happy to bring Library Man back. And Cece, I'm sorry. I hope that you don't mind this tangent on your topic.
No, please
but
do it.
Library Man would come in singing, "My name is Library Man, defender of truth and knowledge. When evil forces steal your books, I'll win them back with my good looks and teach the world to read. I'm Library Man indeed." That was Library Man.
Dude, that is killer.
A real thing.
Did you write that?
I did write that. I did write that.
This is not you, but there is a there is a
Oh, there is a Library Man.
Twitter hashtag that's a Twitter
Great.
handle that's @LibraryMan.
So he has better looks than me for sure. He's just a cartoon
So
caricature.
when did you do this?
This
Yeah.
was so.
When
it was
you
when
were
I was,
working in Berea?
It was when I was working with Pat Acevedo, our youth services main librarian at the Berea location, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of dreamed up Library Man. Pat kind of said, "How can we really get more kids engaged? What can we do to really speak to the kids basically when we go out for school visits and engage kids for summer reading?" And I was like, "How about a superhero who's like dopey and likes to sing, but also is like a champion for like libraries and books and literacy?" So that's what we would do, and we had like a whole skit.
You need to keep doing this.
So I would love to be Library Man
Do it.
again.
Well,
for sure.
I think you found your Halloween costume.
Right?
The old Library Man costume has been retired. I would need, in a Tony Starkian fashion, a Library Man Mark II costume.
Okay.
That would have to happen. So, anyway, maybe
Well,
one
yeah,
day.
I mean, I think you should do
Wow.
this for sure.
Wow.
Maybe one day. I love
How
being
did I
Library
not-
Man. I'm surprised that you don't, because this would have been right around the time that you had
Yeah, because I
begun.
worked in youth services too here in Richmond. I was your counterpart for a
You
good
were.
year.
Gosh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we were
for
working
sure.
together
That's
in
crazy.
the same position, just in one in Richmond and one in Berea.
We would have even been in the same office when I would have
Yeah,
been
I know.
Library Man. Yeah, for sure.
I'm not shocked that I don't remember that. 'cause I
Wow.
don't remember anything,
How
as
did
we talked
I don't
about.
know how I-
Well, sorry.
Wow.
Thank you for letting me derail you, Cece. Everybody,
No,
Library Man
I'm-
was a thing, I promise.
I'm so glad that you
It
did.
was
Yeah.
absolutely worth it for Library Man.
For sure. Well,
Because also
And
you're
for
going to
that
have to
song.
keep on doing it.
we're gonna have to
Yeah.
bring him back. I would love
yes.
to bring him back. Yeah, for sure. We'll get
Wow.
we'll get Tony Stark on the case.
We may have had our opening music.
I know, right? Brandon singing.
Please, God, no.
Oh, it's
Please,
happening.
please, no.
All right. Who else did you meet while you were there?
I was just going to say, so I have been obsessed with the Librarian of Congress since she was appointed.
Mhm.
Carla Hayden is her name.
Okay.
Do you guys know why she's a big deal?
I do.
Okay.
I need to know why she's a big deal. I don't know.
Well, for a few, reasons. So she's an actual public librarian. She
Nice.
was the
Yes.
library director at the Baltimore libraries. So that's a big deal because that doesn't always happen. They don't always appoint
Actual
an
librarians.
actual working
Yeah.
librarian, let alone a public one.
Sure.
So that was a huge deal.
Right.
She's also the first African American woman to have that role.
Now, is she
Nice.
also the first African American? Period.
She might be
And I think she's the first woman. Period.
Okay.
the first African American woman, is what I know.
All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could take
But
those.
I believe that she actually is filling both of those gaps.
Her name one more time, Cece.
Carla
was-
Carla
Hayden.
Hayden, Dr. Carla Hayden.
Okay.
I
awesome.
might be completely
She's
wrong.
the first woman and the first African American. You're right.
Okay,
Alright.
that's what I thought.
She's the first professional librarian appointed to the post in over 60 years.
Dude,
Yeah.
she's like a hero.
Can you believe
Yeah,
that?
she
She's
is.
a way bigger hero than Library Man ever was.
No, she really is.
That's
Like it was
awesome.
a
Yeah.
huge deal when
Wow.
she got that post.
Yeah, I was so excited when
and
when
everybody
I
was
learned about
really,
her.
you know. So I, joked for the past month. I was like, oh my gosh, if I get to meet Carla Hayden, I'm just gonna lose my mind, fall out,
Yeah.
fangirl, all that.
Squeeze.
So when we walked out of the Center for the Book, gathering that we were at, there was like a flyer that had her photo on it, and it was like, welcome Carla Hayden, whatever, Library of Congress, whatever number she is. So I took a selfie with her flyer
Nice.
because her
Yeah.
For
face
sure.
was on it, and I was like, hey, if you can't find Carla Hayden, then next best thing is a flyer of her at her place of work.
Right.
I think I saw that. You put it on Facebook, didn't
Yeah,
you? saw
I
that
remember seeing
initial,
it,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, I wish you had gotten to meet her.
You got my token like.
I should have called you yokel, but I didn't. Okay.
You local yokel.
Lost opportunity.
I know.
Missed
A lost opportunity.
Well, I mean, it's still there. You can comment on it.
There you go.
The moment this podcast is done recording.
Or now, my phone will buzz
Take
in
to
a
Facebook.
minute.
Brandon, are you paying attention? What?
So the
Facebook.
next day we went to the book fair
Mm-hmm.
or the book festival. I will never say it correctly. I'm just sorry.
Yeah.
So it was at this, gigantic convention center right downtown, and we set up with all the other states' Center for the Book. So I look over at the booth next to us, and there's Carla Hayden.
Sweet.
And I was like, oh my God, it's Carla Hayden.
Nice.
Totally fangirl.
Yes.
I did.
love it.
Yes.
So it was me and Brooke, who is she is the Kentucky Book Fair manager.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, Brooke, look, it's Carla Hayden. And she's like, oh my gosh. So we were super duper busy. There were kids coming up and, talking to us. We were giving away a bunch of things. So Dr. Hayden starts to walk right by us, and she's like, oh, Kentucky, how's it going? And then she kept on going, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever, I mean, I said hello to her or something.
Mm-hmm.
So she walked by, and Brooke, I mean, for real, basically dove on her to make her stop and talk to me.
Oh my God, I
That's
love
awesome.
that.
And she was just like, she's your biggest fan. Do you care just to say hi? So she walks
I
back
love
over
that.
to me,
Dude.
and she was like, hi, and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, like, I have never been so excited in my life.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I just, told her, I was like, hey, I'm a public librarian in Kentucky, and she hugged me.
Oh,
She gave me a big hug. She grabbed my hand, and like, I wish you all could see, because like, I'm gonna show you what she did. She was like, oh.
I'm being grabbed
Whenever
by the
I
hand.
said anything about being a librarian and all that, so she was. I won't say just as excited, but she at least pretended that she was really excited.
I mean, it feels to me like the way you describe it. It feels to me like I don't. Okay, so maybe I'm a little bit idealistic.
Mm-hmm.
This is very possible, but I don't feel like someone
No.
could. Right. I don't feel like someone could get to where she's gotten, could arrive to where she's arrived without having some core of authentic passion.
Yes,
and love.
she was extremely genuine.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think, I don't know, I feel like when you get to certain levels in your career or your life or whatever, I feel like you shed some of that.
Mhm.
Or some people that get to
Yeah.
higher levels, I feel like they become more closed off.
Yeah.
But she was not like that at all.
That's awesome.
And she even said that one of the main reasons why she got her job was because every state's, I think, public library association wrote in and said, please appoint her. Like every single
That is
state wrote in and
wonderful.
support.
Wow.
And she told me, because I told her, I was like, we were just so thrilled when you got appointed because it's so important to us. And she said, well, you guys are so important to me because again, every state wrote in supporting me.
She's for
That's
real,
so
like a
cool.
hero, like a national.
She really is, and I
hero.
just
That's
cannot
cool.
tell you how kind she was and how sweet she was, and
Oh.
we just hugged forever and
Yeah.
held hands for just a minute. And
Did you get a selfie?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good,
That's
good.
Well,
good.
I didn't get a actual selfie. Like someone
you got
took
a
the
pic,
photo
though,
for
yeah,
me.
right
You
on,
know what?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. You got
That's
a picture with
awesome.
her. That's good. Not
it's-
just her banner.
It's probably like the happiest I've ever looked.
Nice.
wow.
I'm going to give you a token like on that one. Did you post
Yeah.
that one as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
that
missed
okay?
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Somehow
I
I'll have
did
to go
The
too.
find
one
it.
of me and her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and find it and
Yeah.
give you your token like.
Heck yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Heck
To do
yeah.
that.
dude.
I mean, I'm like grinning ear to ear.
I love that.
Cheesing.
I,
Awesome.
I can't believe I missed that. I'm gonna have to see it.
But like once I told her, where I worked and what I did, she goes, "Oh well, we need to get a photo." And I was like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
obviously,
Oh, that's even better. That's great.
yeah,
That's great. We love you, Carla Hayden. Thanks for
yes,
listening.
yes. Thank you for being so sweet and letting me fangirl and be weird."
Yeah, that's
Right.
awesome.
We love your nerd
But
factor.
you were talking about how genuine she is and how she truly has a passion for
Yeah.
libraries and public libraries and things. And just from the way that libraries are changing from what they were when we were kids, because we talked about this, I think in the last episode, we talked about how, you Brandon, you were searching for the library where everyone is shh shh,
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
speak, you
Mhm.
have to be quiet and everything. And libraries have changed so much, and I feel like you have to have that passion
Right.
and that excitement and that desire to be there
Right.
and to actually be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Right.
No doubt.
If you're going to stay, you can get a job in the public library system
Mhm.
without that. But if you're going to stay in it, you won't last very long if you don't have
Yeah,
that.
if you want to rise through the ranks, then
Right.
yeah, you
Yeah.
got to embrace it.
And that's something that
And
I've
that-
seen, not necessarily here
Mhm.
at the Madison County Public Library, but just overall.
Yeah.
Because when you work in the library world, you get to know other people in the library
Mhm.
world, and I've that's one thing I've noticed, the people who are truly passionate about being there and doing
Mhm.
things and the things that they're doing, that they're the ones who are really making a difference and who are really lasting.
Yeah.
Mhm, for sure.
Well, and I think one of her main goals when she first started was to open the actual Library of Congress up a little bit more
Uh-huh.
so that the people can actually see it and enjoy it and use it and all that.
I love
Because I
that.
think
Yeah.
it's been
Hmm.
a little closed off in the past.
It's felt very inaccessible.
yeah.
Hasn't it?
And
Yeah,
she-
I agree with that. Yeah.
And I
I
mean,
had-
even though
and-
you have to go through airport security to get to it.
Yeah.
right.
She wants to, break down some of those barriers,
Mhm.
so that the people can actually
I
see
love
it and use
that.
it and all that.
That's
I
beautiful.
absolutely
That's
love
cool.
that. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. How can you not honor that
Yeah.
goal? That's great.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my topic is the thing that has been on my mind because for the last, at the very least, the last week and a half.
How much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Exactly. How did you guess?
I'm psychic.
Well, okay. So I did some research, and a woodchuck could, in fact, this is not my topic.
I was getting really excited.
Right?
This is not even.
Finally.
Is it like
Not
5
even
kilos or 55 kilos? Nobody knows for sure.
No. Okay. So I've mentioned on here several times before I do theater. Well, right now I'm in the last 2 weeks of rehearsal for the show that I'm in currently. And then my daughter just got cast in a show,
Yay.
which I have agreed to costume, which has 65 children.
Oh, jeez.
Whoa.
Why'd you do that?
90% of,
Holy.
well, because I enjoy doing it, and I'm not doing it by myself. I'm helping costume. So, and 90% of these kids have, out of the 65 kids in it, 90% of them have multiple costume changes. So
Jeez.
it's a lot of costumes.
Holy cow, man.
So, and then
What is
everybody,
the show? Did you already say it?
Her show is Oliver.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
she's an Oliver.
That's
She's
a lot
she's
of
an
kids.
orphan and a
Yeah.
pickpocket.
Oh,
and
yeah, there's a lot of kids.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's over at Madison Central, and their musicals are phenomenal.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen any of
I've
them.
recently heard somebody else say, I don't know anything
are
about
fantastic.
their musicals or even their music program, but somebody recently told me that Madison Central here in Madison County, obviously, is like a big school for music and
Mhm.
performing
They are.
arts.
They are. They're the shows that
Cool.
they do. If the during the read through, she lined out their goal for them, and it was, our goal here is not to put on a good high school production.
Hmm.
Our goal here is to put on a good production.
Right on.
And if people leave here saying, "Wow, that was a good play for a high school," then we've not done our job.
Right.
Okay, all
If
right.
they leave going, "Wow, that was a good show,"
Mhm.
then we've done our job.
They've got
Awesome.
high hopes. Is that Annie? Is that Annie or Oliver? I thought it was
I
Oliver.
don't believe so.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm the
somebody
wrong
will-
person to ask.
Speaking of, they did Annie a few years ago,
Did they?
and my
Okay.
daughter was Annie.
All right. Oh, I knew that. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
but anyway, so Katie's in that, and I've agreed to help costume it. And then the show that I'm in, Lost in Yonkers, not a musical, we're getting ready to open in 2 weeks, and then everybody in the Central Kentucky theater area is having auditions for their fall shows, and they're making announcements and everything. So this is where my brain is right now.
Mhm.
So this is what I was going to talk about, was just the theater and some of the myths and things. I learned something last week. Well, I learned some of the terminology.
What was that?
That's sorry.
Was that your
Brandon
silent
did
sound
this
effect?
like
You guys are getting to know me way too well.
he did like
Yeah.
spirit fingers.
These
if you
Jazz
will.
hands! No, it was jazz hands.
It was jazz
Did you just
hands,
seriously do
that's
jazz
right.
hands?
So I have to be honest
You were blushing.
about. Oh yeah, my. So it was the reason I'm blushing is because it was authentically unconscious. It's something that I do
Your
when
spirit fingers?
Well, yeah, you could call them that. You could call them jazz hands.
I want to call them spirit fingers.
Yeah.
Well, not
They
once
were
I-
they were more spirit fingers than jazz hands.
Not once I tell you what they're actually.
There is
called.
a difference. There is a difference. I just demonstrated it. Okay, guys. So, spirit fingers are when you hold your hand up and your palm, your hand does not move, just your fingers
All
move.
together now.
And the jazz hands is when you hold your hand up and your hand like waves back and
That's
forth.
True. Well,
There is a difference between jazz hands and spirit fingers.
let me introduce you to the snack treat fingers, in which case. And
Snack treats.
snack treat fingers are kind of like you do like a bit of a claw, like a cat's paw with your hand, and then you just kind of wiggle your top 4 digits, and your thumb is stationary. These are the snack treat hands, and I'll tell you how this happened. When I was in college, I was super overweight, pretty unhealthy, pretty unhappy about that. So I put myself on a pretty serious diet and fitness regimen, and I lost almost 100 pounds.
Wow.
Wow,
good for you.
Unfortunately, in my life, I didn't keep it off. I'm doing the same thing in my life these days, and I'm going to keep it off this time and be super good about that. But anyway, my college roommate knew that I had I have a real love for food, like cheesy potatoes in the bathtub,
No
et cetera,
way.
et cetera. Like food is
No
like my
way.
when all
Domino's
the
sub in the corner.
when all the other when all the other vices have reached death's door, food will be forever in my life as a vice and an addiction and a seduction. So when I was
I'm right there with you,
when
so
I
I
was-
completely
right.
understand.
Well, I just a little aside.
please.
I think that food would be the hardest vice to give up because you have to eat. You
Yeah.
know?
Good point.
This is true.
And,
That's a
like, I
great
mean, there
point.
are many TV shows about this very thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you give up, say, booze, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can
Sure.
just avoid it.
Right.
Like you don't have to be around it. You can, not go to a bar. You can
Sure.
not have friends that drink.
you can even avoid restaurants entirely that serve it.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But I mean, food, like you have to, you have
Man.
to eat.
You have to eat. Man, that's a fair point.
It's true.
And you don't want to eat
tough.
something that just is completely bland every day.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
right. Variety.
well,
we
I mean, I
we
can talk about
crave
this for
variety.
days.
Right.
Yeah. This is
But
true.
like the food that so like big food, if you will.
Yeah.
Big
The food that we
That needs like the
are
sound effect. Dun dun dun.
yeah, I
Right.
know, right?
so the food that we eat from like fast food, packaged foods and stuff like that. There's so many fake additives in
Yeah,
there
for
and
sure.
chemicals and stuff
For sure.
that get us addicted to it.
Absolutely.
So when we actually eat real food, it doesn't know what to do with it because it's like, wait, where's all the sodium?
Yeah. Yeah.
real food it's not even appealing to many of us, myself included. Not so much anymore. I've had to retrain myself
It's
more than
definitely
once
a
in my
retraining.
life.
Oh
Yeah.
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 I'm in the process of like trying to do that again myself, trying to retrain.
It's
and-
hard.
It's breaking
It
an
is.
addiction.
Mhm.
Really, it's breaking
It
an
is.
addiction. I've
Absolutely.
also quit cigarette smoking after 5 or 6 years of very heavy, like embarrassingly heavy, totally not okay. It's not okay to smoke cigarettes at all, right? But totally like way too extreme. And breaking that addiction was one of the hardest things I've ever done with my life.
Yeah.
And food
Yeah.
is harder. Food has been harder, but a little bit more long term.
Mhm.
Anyway, so
Snack
when
fingers.
when I
Is that
got
what
Yeah.
real-
So yeah, back to snack fingers.
I
It
mean,
started
I was
this whole
Wait,
thing.
was it snack fingers?
Snack treats.
treats.
So if you can picture, you put yourself in the shoes of a young guy who's just crazy about food, dying for a McDonald's hamburger for just a long period of time, but he's made this commitment. You know what I mean? He's
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
trying so
Yeah.
hard to do better, but here comes the temptation arises. And then his hands fly up, and his little fingers just go. These are the snack treat fingers. Ooh,
You are a
I
cartoon
totally get it.
character.
there's
Yeah.
a little bit of Homer Simpson in there, if I'm
It's
being
like
honest.
it's like
Yeah, that's very
like I'm
Homer.
picturing
Yeah.
Sylvester
There's
like
like-
trying to eat Tweety, like doing the little fingers.
So my roommate would notice.
It's like excited
Yeah,
fingers.
it's
Definitely
excited.
excited.
Oh,
My
boy.
roommate would notice that he's like, "You're doing it again," and I would say, because I would be generally in the kitchen or in front of the refrigerator, and he'd be like, "You're doing it again." I'd be like, "What?" And he'd say, "You're doing this. You're looking for your little snack treats, buddy." So
Oh my god.
now
Snack
that I've
treats.
done a little bit of work, right, on this personal journey of mine, whenever I get excited about things, sometimes I do snack treat fingers.
So you were excited about my
Yeah.
topic that brought up snack treat fingers?
Now we've come full circle. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry it's taken this long.
No, it's
I'm very
fine.
excited. It made me do snack treat fingers.
Oh, well that's exciting.
Listeners, please, I'm a normal guy. I'm
That's a lie.
I'm
not.
pretty
No,
with
it's
it.
All
Normal
lies.
is just a setting on the dryer, sweetie.
In which case, snack treat fingers all day, every day.
Well, now I just want snacks and treats.
Well, we always come around to food. Always come around to food.
I'm starving
well,
right now.
Yep.
One of the things that I learned this week, I've been actually listening to a different podcast, and one of the things that they talk about different facts that they have learned over the week, and it's a great podcast. I don't know if I should say it on ours or not, but one of the things that they mentioned was that the origin of exit stage left, the phrase exit stage left, actually goes back to days of pantomime, which is like way like Roman ages.
Early theater.
The villain would always exit stage left, and the hero would exit stage right.
Okay.
And so the old character Snagglepuss would always say, exit, stage left.
Love Snagglepuss.
So when I made that connection, I was like, oh my God, because it was always the bad guy that he was talking to. Exit, stage left.
Okay.
And it was because of, I do a terrible Snagglepuss impersonation. My husband is great. He does a really good one.
I would love to hear it.
Oh, I just got rid of the recordings. Last summer, I was in a production of Into the Woods. And so, which is a very large ensemble show. And so in order for me to learn my lines, he read them with me, but I recorded them, and he read each different character in a different voice.
That's awesome.
Cinderella was a burly Scotsman. The witch, I don't even remember. I think the witch was just like, I don't even know. But one of the characters was Snagglepuss, and I think it was one of the princes.
Amazing.
Was Snagglepuss, and it was hilarious. And I had it recorded on my iPad, and it was great. I loved it.
I'll take a real quick stab if I may. Here I come.
If I
Snack
may.
treats. Exit stage out of here even. Thanks.
That was really good. So that was one of the things that I learned was the origin of that, because one of the things that's really confusing for people who are like if you hear the phrase exit stage left, which direction do you think that the actor is exiting?
Well, there's the
From your
stage left and
perspective.
there's the house left.
Right.
So house left would be stage right.
Correct.
I'm not good at
That
that.
is correct.
Okay, right.
That is correct. So if you're sitting in the audience, stage left is actually your right.
You're right.
I only
Okay,
know
got
But
that
if
from
you're
my
on-
history at Comedy Off Broadway.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, hey, but that works. That works.
Did you guys have a shepherd's crook at a Comedy Off Broadway
we
to pull
don't.
off?
You
People like
should.
myself who would go on stage
We
and
don't.
just keep going
just
and keep going, and they're
bomb.
dying.
Right.
Maybe at one point they did, but as long as I've been there, that's
But
Too bad.
but so then if you're on the stage and your exit stage left, it is actually your left. And then did you know when you move downstage, which direction are you headed?
I'm feeling like that's towards the audience.
That is correct.
Sweet.
And the reason it's called downstage is because the stage used
Snack
to
treat
actually be
fingers.
elevated. Snack treat fingers.
Pretty sure that's the name of this episode, you guys.
It might be, it might be.
Sorry.
But the stage actually was tilted, and the back end was elevated, and so you would literally move down towards the audience and move
Okay. Oh,
upstage.
sure. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty
Right.
cool.
That's like a very ancient theater idea,
Mhm.
right? When like amphitheater type setting, right?
I think no, because the amphitheater, the audience is elevated, and
Okay,
so
that's
it's,
true,
So
right.
they're down like in the middle, but more. I think it has more to do with like the Globe Theater for Shakespearean times and
okay,
things.
got it. Okay.
Because
Cool.
the audience, so many of the audience was down in a pit, like
Right.
down, and the stage was elevated slightly above them.
Got
And
it.
so, in order for them to see what was going on upstage, the back of the stage would actually have to be elevated.
Awesome.
So that was really cool. And then I was very curious. Do you guys know about the Scottish play and the curse of the Scottish play?
No.
No.
No,
not
you don't
a
know about
thing.
this? Do you know about
Curse of
this,
the
Mark?
Scottish play.
No. Okay, the Scottish play, because we're not in a theater. I will say it. Apologies to anyone who is listening to this in a theater. But the Scottish play is another word for Macbeth.
Okay.
And the superstition is that if you are in a theater, or and some actors like won't even say Macbeth at all.
Oh.
But if you are in a theater, it is bad luck to say Macbeth in a theater. And actually, productions of the Scottish play, so generally they call it the Scottish play,
Okay.
or Lady Macbeth is referred to as a Scottish lady.
Yes.
And but if you say it in a theater, a lot of times like you'll have to. Whoever says it has to then go outside of the theater and then like do a ritual before
Like
they can be let back in.
A circle of toothpaste and salt and
Right.
like
Well, it has
ravens.
more to do with like turning around 3 times, spitting, and then
Right.
uttering like another phrase of Shakespeare.
Oh.
One of the most popular ones is, where did it go? Oh, that's the wrong page. It's angels and ministers of grace defend us, which is from Hamlet. So
So that's what you say to break the curse?
you say a different phrase. That's one of the popular ones. Another one is, if we shadows have offended, from Midsummer Night's Dream, and then fair thoughts and happy hours attend on you, from Merchant of Venice. Those are 3 very popular ones. Generally, when I've seen it, I was actually in a play, a murder mystery, back in February, and this was one of the elements of that show, was that the victim kept having to leave the room because we would say Macbeth.
Right on.
But this guy was somebody like we hated him, and we were very happy when he. Well, I wouldn't say happy. You don't want to ever be happy, but yeah, he was awful.
I wish
he was awful, but so he kept having to leave the room and like turn around 3 times and spit and then knock on the door to be let back in.
I wish to break the curse, the offender had to recite one of Shakespeare's many, many lines about flatulence. I can't quote any of them directly, but like in front of like the audience, like.
There are plenty of them.
Like later at the production, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you said Macbeth 3 times, so you have to choose 3
but see, now you
flatulence-related
would have
lines.
just had to go out because you just invoked the curse yourself by saying Macbeth.
Ah.
But this goes back to times like they're saying that the origins of this, an actor actually died on stage because they're saying that and now this is probably an urban legend from wherever this was happened.
Right.
But they're saying that an actor died on stage because a real dagger was used instead of a fake one.
Whoa.
And in the
Gangster.
Scottish play,
Right
I almost said
yeah,
it.
they go hard.
Yeah.
in the Scottish
But
play.
there's a lot of fighting in this particular play.
Lady Macbeth comes out. Bow, bow, la-da-da-da-da. Okay.
I love that. I absolutely love that. But yeah, so and they're also saying there's also a superstition saying that part of the reason that the play is cursed is because the 3 witches supposedly use actual witches spells in the play.
Cool.
I honestly couldn't
I hope that's true.
I love all this
I don't
stuff.
I really
Yeah.
hope that's true.
I'm an extremely superstitious person.
Really?
Are you?
Oh yeah.
How deep does it go, Cece? Will you
Well,
walk under
like
a
what is
ladder?
better?
or-
What
with
is your
age?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
See, mine has probably gotten worse with age.
Yeah. But like I'm bad about sports.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Like when you're talking about the whole, you have to leave the room when you invoke the curse and
Yeah.
spin around and all that. I mean, I have a group of friends, and when March rolls around, we'll go watch, Kentucky basketball games. And if they're doing well, if our team's doing well, we do not move from the seats that we're in until the game's finished.
Right.
If one of us happens, so like if it's kind of a close game or we're not doing well, and one of us happens to get up and, go get a drink or, use the bathroom or whatever, if we start doing well while they're doing that, they have to continue doing that.
Okay.
The whole time.
Continually getting drinks.
That's intense. That's
So an
intensely
example
superstitious.
is
Yeah.
a group of friends and I were out watching a game. It was Kentucky and Wisconsin, that fated Final Four game.
Okay.
Right.
We
Okay.
lost. So, it was a very, very close game. It was like an 8-point swing every now and then.
Okay.
So one of my friends got up to use the restroom, and we went on like an 8-0 run and like tied the game. Like we were, it was, looking good. So we made her stay in the bathroom
That's
at a restaurant, like not even like at somebody's house.
Oh my God.
Like we even like carried her drink in there to her. So yeah,
I would love
So
to be the
she-
person who sat down in the stall next to her and just like kind of heard her like maybe playing a
Well,
mobile
the funny
game,
thing is, there's only
sipping on her
one
drink.
stall in this restaurant. Like you like open the door. I mean, you don't lock the main door, you
Right.
know,
Uh-huh.
but you open the door and there's the sink and there's the stall.
Right.
So she was just chilling in the bathroom.
She's like, sorry,
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
UK's playing. Just go. I'm not waiting.
So there was we had to watch the games at the same place every time also.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a couple and one of their friends who were sitting at a table near us every game, and this is from SEC finals all the way to the Final Four. So this is several weeks. This is
Wow.
I say like 4 weeks, I guess.
Mm.
So finally we were like, "Hey, you've been here every time we've been here," and they're like, "Yeah, we drive in from Shelbyville."
What?
Because this
Okay.
has been a long-standing college, tradition that we all have to watch the
Wow.
games together. So the guy orders the same beer
Right. Sure.
an hour before the game, and then when the game starts, he switches to a different beer.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm talking. This is some serious stuff here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
And then if you lose, so last year, our thing was we're going to watch the games at a different spot each time.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mojo, we weren't really feeling it at any spot we went to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we watched it with different people at a different place every time.
Okay.
So, of course, when we lost that last game, it was because we went to a different place.
Of course. Of course it is. Of course it is.
This is a real window into. So I'm not a sports fan at all. I grew up near Pittsburgh, and if the Steelers are in the Super Bowl, I'll probably call my grandfather and wish him luck. Like that's about it, right? But I've always been super. So this is like a window into a world that I've always kind of imagined existed. That's intense. That's some intense stuff.
I mean, I have shirts that I won't wear when Kentucky plays.
Well, there's on The Office, Pam and Jim there's an episode where Pam comes out as like a believer in ghosts, and Jim thinks that she's crazy. I can't believe my wife I didn't know this about you. You really believe in ghosts? And she's like, how's it any different from you wearing the same jersey? I think it's the Philadelphia Eagles that he supports, right? And he's like, he says it's totally different. I'm just participating in a collective group activity that maybe the Eagles will hear that we're doing and play a little harder.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Well, what's your superstition, Brandon? Do you have any?
When I was a really scared little kid, just like in general, if I heard a noise in the other room, I would pee my pants and cry for my mom and suck on my thumb. Like it ran deep for me, for sure. All three of those things in that order every time, twice a day.
And this lasted until 25?
I mean, 32, 33. So for sure, like black cats were my mortal enemies, and I would run away in ladders, and I would throw salt over the shoulder if I spilled it.
I still do that.
I do that just mostly because I'm just like, it's fun.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry to whoever's behind me.
These days, I like to believe that I architect my own destiny.
I like that.
I don't.
I like that. I'm definitely a fan of that.
Personally, I don't. It's not a critical thing. I think superstitions are fun. I think that there's it makes sense that there's like a collective unconscious, like a reason for them to exist. That makes sense to me.
No, it does.
But I kind of like reject them. I'm like, not me, man. You can't. You know what I mean? Bring all your black cats out, man. You know what I mean? I'll give them my snack treat fingers and keep walking.
I'm snack fingers. I'm definitely a fan of the make your own destiny way of thinking. I definitely fall into that group. I sound like Rain Man. Definitely. Jeez. But I still am going to follow the superstitions and the stuff.
Yeah.
Because I
might as well.
Tempting fate if you don't.
Yeah.
I feel like okay, you spill the salt. All right, what does it cost you to toss it over your shoulder?
I mean, I did give up the black cat thing.
Not go underneath the ladder, because generally speaking, I'm going to hit my head on the ladder, or I'm going to bump into it, and somebody's going to fall over because I'm clumsy. So
breaking a mirror, I do not want to do like that.
That's just a lot of glass to clean up.
Yeah,
I'm far less concerned about the superstition and more about the, oh my God, now there's glass in my carpet.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I play these little games with myself, and I don't know if this is like this asymptotes superstition, where like, okay, so if I really want to sleep well through the night, I have like a kid now, and I'm like, on my mind all the time is like, am I going to sleep well tonight, right? So I'll say to myself, and this is so stupid, this is embarrassing, I'll say to myself like, okay, if I can get all the laundry done tonight and sweep the kitchen floor and get all the dishes done before she goes to bed, then it's going to be a good night.
I get that.
You know what I mean?
I think that's a whole different, that's a different mind game, I think.
It is a really weird, but obviously, it's completely, it's
I
like
mean,
fake.
Like when I hang
work.
up clothes that need to dry, so like, clothes that we don't dry in the dryer, clothes that we need to air dry, all the hangers have to be going the same way, or like terrible things will happen to me, or something,
for sure, exactly, or like that.
See, my husband does that because he does most of the laundry because he's home earlier than I am. So he does most of the laundry, and he makes sure all the hangers are facing the same way. But then when I do the laundry, the hangers are just whatever way I put them up, and everything's
I mean, Brooke is the same way.
They'll go a certain direction, but like all the shirts are facing the same way and everything. And I'm just like, whatever is on the hanger, hang it up,
totally.
whatever. And he just looks at me, and I baffle him.
I mean, that's what Brooke does too, but I go back and fix it. Because like for some reason deep down, it's like if it's not the same way every time, then again, awful things are going to happen.
It's this weird, as you say, Cece, it's this weird game of like causality. There is no link between the coat hangers and the game, or the coat hangers and like your day tomorrow.
No.
But I convince myself I can't have a good day tomorrow if those coat hangers aren't all just so.
And I'm an extremely rational person also.
I feel like I'm an extremely sick person right now.
But like you almost wonder how extremely rational people can still believe that, again, if all the coat hangers aren't facing the same way, then something bad's going to happen to me.
It's too funny. Tom is my husband, and for those who are just tuning in, his dad is a mailman. postal worker, I guess. But he wears a rubber band on his left hand whenever he's going somewhere, because as his dad would take off bundles of mail, they would rubber band them together, and so then he would take the rubber band off, put it on his wrist, and then keep going.
Right on.
And he's only had very, very few. I don't think he's actually ever had a serious accident since he's been doing that. And so their tradition is, if they're going on a road trip, they put a rubber band on their left hand.
Yeah.
How about that?
Actually, I think I don't know if the wrist matters, because his dad's left-handed, but Tom's right-handed. So I don't know if it matters. He always puts it on his left hand.
I
so
wear a hair tie on my wrist. Not today. Almost every day.
Well, because if you have long hair, you want to pull your hair up, and all of us but Mark have long hair in here.
That's true. Every single one of us.
It is true. We all have long hair.
I might have the longest hair.
I don't know. My hair's gotten pretty long.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think Mark should grow like a rat tail.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
please.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
you need like a what is it? What is
like
it?
a braided rat tail.
What is that movie
With
that had
little beads
Steve
at the
Martin
end of
in
it?
it as a producer? And it was like, it wasn't something. It wasn't Goldfinger. Was it Bowfinger?
Yes.
Bowfinger.
Yes.
Where he had the fake rat tail that he
Bowfinger.
would put on when he would go to meetings.
Mark, I am dying for you. Like, just turn
I love
turn
a
your head
good
really
rat
quickly,
tail.
and that rat tail. Just
We just
whips
found
right
your
around.
Halloween costume, Mark.
Dude.
Yeah, totally.
That's great.
That's funny. But that's his big. You know what? Now that I say that my superstitions got worse as I've gotten older, but really, maybe they haven't. Maybe I've gotten less.
I think it's more the mind game thing.
Yeah.
I think it might
it's
be
the
right.
Mind game,
For sure.
collective.
How do you guys feel about luck?
Luck?
Luck. Does that tie in for you? Do you feel so? I bring this up because I have a pair of lucky undergarments. And please just
tell me they're Dr. Seuss boxers.
Please just let me. They are not my Dr. Seuss boxers. No, it's just like, it's not like weird. I mean, it might be a little weird, but it's just like I have a good day generally, and I like them. They're like pretty.
You know what?
But wouldn't you think you have a good day because you're happy that you have those on?
So self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Expectation leads to fulfillment of expectation.
Right.
I think that's 95% of what luck is, probably.
I think so.
You know what? I think you're right, though, because I also have a pair of underwear that I get
What's wrong with
excited
me?
about
I don't
wearing.
have a lucky pair of underwear.
You guys,
I don't know.
You need to go
You
on
need
a
to go
quest
find
for your lucky
lucky
jaws.
pair of underwear. I have a lucky pair of underwear too. It's like when I wear them, you just about did snack your fingers. You just about did it.
Jokes on jokes that are.
I did, because I'm thinking about
thinking
about my lucky jaws.
You know what? You do actually do that a lot.
You
the
really
snack
do.
Fingers.
And now that I'm so glad
Snack
that I know what
fingers,
you're
snack
doing
treats.
now.
What is it again?
Snack treat fingers.
Snack treat fingers. Okay.
I get excited about things. Okay, guys.
Tom's grandmother. She lived with them for a while before she ended up having to go into the nursing home. She had very severe Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. But before it got to the point where she was unable to, Brandon's still cracking up, and I love it. But before she got to the point where she just became too much for them to be able to care for. His brother was eating a bag of Doritos, and whenever she wanted some, she couldn't articulate what she was trying to say, and so he told her to do this gesture, which is where she took her two middle fingers, put them against the thumb, and then made horns with the index finger, like rock out, and then she would shake her hand back and forth. And that was how she said that she wanted.
Dorito.
So that was called chips.
Right.
It was called chips.
Yeah.
And they still do that.
Okay.
Be like
Funny.
chips,
Okay.
chips.
No doubt.
And they would do that. They would make that gesture.
Someone
It's so
else's
funny.
version of snack treat fingers.
Snack treat fingers. Yeah.
Mine's a little more quicker.
All right, what you got for us, Brandon?
Yeah. After all this, it's a little bit different, but I will say it's something I do snack treat fingers about. I was just doing them earlier. My God, can we please stop talking about that? So
No,
we're not.
It will
Never again.
No.
Ever. It will live in infamy.
I wanted to talk about. This is my word. You guys may or may not agree. Listeners may or may not agree. Fringe art or fringe artists.
Okay.
Okay. So I've picked out 3 of my favorite artists. One of them, the first one I want to talk about, is totally not on the fringe anymore, but he started this way. And the other 2 are fellas that I'm going to bet that you guys probably don't know about. Most of our listeners probably don't know about. But I'm really interested in, so I'm an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a poet. I'm about as fringe as they come, right? But I'm passionate about my art, like super duper passionate. It's like it's one of the biggest parts of who I am, and I love, as an artist, finding other artists who aren't like blowing up like Beyonce, but are doing their art and super passionate about it and doing good things with it, right? So when I've talked to some people, and I was like, who would you consider like a fringe artist? And I'm curious if you guys have people in your lives that you know, that you follow, that you could share about. I want to talk about Banksy first. You guys know Banksy?
Yeah.
I love Banksy.
So Banksy, so y'all's response means that Banksy is totally not a fringe artist anymore. Obviously, he's like a superstar.
Right.
The thing that sets him apart, though, is that he's an anonymous person.
Right.
We don't even actually know. I looked at Banksy's Wikipedia page. We don't actually know if Banksy is a he or a she. I mean, I feel like there are some
or if it's
interviews,
actually one
or
human.
if it's actually correct. So on the Wikipedia page for Banksy, they refer to Banksy as them and they, or their.
Yeah.
Right. So for those of you who don't know, Banksy is a British from Bristol, England. That's where this movement or this person,
or at least that's where the art is based,
right?
Or seems to be based.
right. And he or them started out doing some it's dark humor, sometimes political graffiti, right? Unlike political buildings and this kind of thing, and it's become like this huge movement. There's a documentary about Banksy, Exit through the Gift Shop, and he or them are like super inspirational to lots of people.
I love the stuff that Banksy does.
Sure.
I absolutely love it. Some of it, a lot of it is very much a commentary on a different social situation.
No doubt, right.
One of my favorite stories about Banksy, though, is where they did an art installation on the side of a school.
Yes. Okay.
On the side of a school, and the students, I think the students actually contributed or something. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I remember reading the article.
That's cool.
But I think that part of the reason, and we've talked about this a little bit before with social media, but I think part of the reason that Banksy is so famous now is because of social media.
Totally.
And sure. I think that has been. I mean, I think that that Banksy would have become a well-known artist eventually anyway, because news stories and newspaper articles and things like that. But because things can be spread so quickly, they can literally go viral.
Yeah, I mean,
on social media
immediately, like within a day.
Right. So because of that, though, I think that that's part of what has driven Banksy's fame to become less of a fringe artist, even though definitely still very much a fringe artist, given the anonymity.
He kind of represents, given the anonymity, but he kind of represents this countercultural anti-hero kind of fighting. There's a little bit like V for Vendetta in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like Guy
I
Fawkesian, bucking the system, and so I really respect the work that Banksy does. Anyway, so I think he's.
Plus,
cool.
I also really just like their art.
Yeah, the art is awesome too. Yeah, for sure. So the two artists that I'm gonna guess, you guys probably don't know.
Okay.
Are the first one is a guy called Ronald Jenkees. Do you guys know Ronald Jenkees?
Is that who you played for
That is
us?
who I played in here.
Oh!
Listen, I've had this renaissance of Ronald Jenkees. I chose him because he's a Kentucky boy. Right? He's from Kentucky. Yeah, I don't exactly know where. I was struggling to find exactly where he's based. I heard Louisville, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'll look it up while you're talking.
If you want to, yeah. He's a Kentucky boy. Ronald Jenkees is he got famous on YouTube, or he became a fringe artist on YouTube. He's a brilliantly gifted piano player. That's his art. He does these synthesized EDM, electronica pieces. He has 5 albums. Here's what I love about Ronald Jenkees. If you watch him on YouTube, you're going to think for a second that he's playing a character, right? I'm
looking at pictures, and you're right.
His personality, you're going to think that he's faking it. His personality, he has a look. He wears his little bowler hat, and he's got these glasses.
He has a Wikipedia page.
He does. His signature hook is that on every video he begins, "Hello, YouTubes," and he's
I love that.
He's got this persona.
How do you spell his last name?
Jenkees. Ronald Jenkees.
Okay.
But so I didn't believe. I was calling BS on this guy. I didn't believe that he was like a real artist. I was like, you're just trying to get YouTube famous by playing a character, kind of like. Do you guys know Miranda sings?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I know Miranda sings.
I thought Miranda was legit back in 2008, and I was like, oh my god, like telling everybody, but she's just an actress.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I can't with
Miranda.
her. I just can't.
I just don't get it. I think I'm too old.
I find her annoying more than funny.
I think I'm just too old.
There are a few things that she's done that are amusing, But
back in 08 when I thought she was I didn't realize that it was an act.
Yeah.
I was showing everybody. I was like, look at this
Yeah.
girl who really can't sing trying to sing on YouTube.
I don't want us to get down the inevitable rabbit hole we're going to get down with this.
Here it
Right,
comes.
right.
So again, I've been in the comedy world on the peripheral for a long time, 15 years. And there's a lot of resistance for some people when it comes to people who put on an act in their stand-up show.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah,
But
sure.
so many people do.
Oh
sure,
yeah.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I mean, so Larry the Cable Guy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Good example.
He is not Southern. I mean, he's from like Tampa, Florida, or something. But
Right.
like,
but the whole thing.
that's not
Yeah.
like
even the accent.
Arkansas, right, you know.
Yeah.
So
He's-
his
he's-
whole thing
it's
is
a
an
persona.
act. Right.
Definitely.
And some people, especially stand-up comedians that don't put on an act, they cannot stand stuff like that. Like absolutely hate
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
And some people
Sure.
who enjoy comedy also can't stand stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's character Etta May,
Yeah.
character also. And people, I mean, again, people are extremely resistant. So, like, once you find out that it's not like we may have to
that's
edit
not
that
who
out, by
they
the
really,
way.
really
I
are.
think we may have to edit that out.
No, I didn't catch it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Enjoy yourself. Here we go.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that people get a little
Quack sound effect.
once
Quack.
they. Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
No, I think I just outed someone who's not. It's not commonly known that that's not real.
Oh.
Oh. Well, it's not. It's actually, I didn't know until this year that Larry the Cable Guy was an act.
Oh, really?
Like I thought that was. Well, I mean, I thought that
I
part
didn't
of
know,
that.
I don't even know who this person is you're speaking
Okay,
about.
good.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was the person that you were talking about. I did know that.
Okay,
But
it was an act.
Yeah, I did know that was an act.
Okay.
Now, Larry the Cable Guy, I thought that it was an exaggeration of
Gotcha.
who he really was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was basically almost a
he's-
complete persona.
He's like an actor.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I
for
did
sure.
not
But I
realize
mean,
that.
all comedians are an actor
Oh,
in
yeah.
some way.
No doubt.
You know.
For sure.
Yeah.
But again, when someone finds out that it's an act,
Right.
there's like this.
Right.
I don't know if it's really disappointment, or I guess it's like something that you came to enjoy and now it's not.
It feels dishonest
same.
to me, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. If the only way for me personally that I can receive that in integrity would be like, just to offer an example, if Larry the Cable Guy came out and did the whole Larry the Cable Guy routine, but at the beginning and the end said, you know what, y'all, I'm just faking. This isn't really what it is. Do you know what I mean? If he was
Yeah.
upfront about it, if
Yeah.
he came correct.
Now, see, for
about it.
me, it doesn't affect my enjoyment of it at all.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm also an actor.
Right.
So for me, a joke is a joke.
Yeah.
And it's funny if it's
Okay.
funny.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who. Well, I mean, sometimes it does matter who's presenting it.
I can respect
But
it. Yeah.
we're all acting in some
Right,
in
it's
some
all
way.
an act
It's
in some
all an
way.
act
Yeah.
to some in
All
some
the
way.
world's a stage and its people merely players.
Thank you, thank you.
Right.
Nice callback to my subject.
So Ronald Jenkees is not acting. I thought for sure he was, because in this world, like on YouTube, it's so hard to trust, right? Who's just putting on and who's not. He's brilliantly talented, and he's so humble and sweet. I really recommend that y'all check him out. Last guy I want to talk about. Have you all heard about? Do you know who Wesley Willis was?
No.
Wesley Willis, Rock and Roll McDonald's.
No.
Wesley
No.
Willis. I got to tell you about Wesley
Because
Willis.
suddenly rock and roll McDonald's, I'm suddenly thinking like Chuck E. Cheese band.
No, man. I got to tell you about Wesley. Wesley Willis is one of my favorite artists of all time, living or dead. Wesley Willis, unfortunately, I'm sad to say, passed away in, I believe, 2005. Wesley Willis was very much fringe. He was only popular for a long time in Chicago. He's a Chicago-based musician, okay?
Okay, so
Yeah, Chicago-based musician. The thing that really sets Wesley Willis apart is that he had chronic and acute schizophrenia his whole entire life. I don't say this derogatorily in any way, fashion, shape, or form, but Wesley Willis was a crazy person, right? His music kind of arose, his music and lyrics arose from his illness.
I just read a song title.
So I want to say,
yeah, I'm looking him up right now.
say-
I Whip Spider-Man's.
yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
want to say Wesley Willis, most of his lyrics are R-rated, just
Yeah.
so you know, for
Yeah.
our audience. However, his songs are funny. His songs are sweet
I'm gonna have to listen to
and
him.
beautiful. They're hysterical.
It looks funny.
I want to say this. This is important.
The chicken cow.
The chicken cow is awesome. The
What?
chicken cow is awesome. What I want to say is this.
Okay, see, I found
His discography, yeah. So
No, see, I found is this the same guy?
that's exactly him. That's exactly.
So this
that's
is
Wesley Willis.
okay.
There's a documentary about him that you can find on YouTube called
Because he's also
Joyrides.
Awesome.
Yep.
an illustrator. It looks
He
like.
did all of his own cover art. Wesley Willis would he would ride public transportation, and he would either be having a good day with his illness or a bad day with his illness. The good days he would call joyrides, and he would write happy songs.
Yes.
The bad days he would call war hell rides, and he would write very dark. Oftentimes some violent stuff would come out, lots of swearing, curse words, and this kind of thing. I want to say this is important. When I introduce people to Wesley Willis, they often think that like people are making fun of Wesley Willis because he had a disability, because he was very mentally ill. It's absolutely not the case. Wesley Willis was surrounded by people who loved him, who saw him as an artist. He always benefited and got all the money. You know, no one ever took advantage of Wesley Willis. I myself am not making fun of Wesley Willis. I think he was brilliant. And I want to read you guys just 2 lyrics from 2 Wesley Willis songs. Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is called Rock and Roll McDonald's. This song was featured in the documentary Super Size Me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morgan
All right.
Spurlock. Okay. McDonald's is the place to rock. It is a place where they buy food to eat. It is a good place to listen to the music. People flock here to listen to the music. Then Rock and Roll McDonald's repeated ad hominem as the chorus. Second verse, McDonald's will make you fat. They serve Big Macs. They serve quarter pounders. They will put pounds on you. Rock and Roll McDonald's ad hominem. And the second, this I think is personally my favorite. Actually, this is my favorite Wesley Willis song that I can share on our podcast.
Sure.
Okay.
This song is called "I'm Sorry That I Got Fat," and I personally have a lot of
I love
resonation.
this.
The lyrics go, "This is the song that I'm gonna rap about. It's called That I'm Sorry That I Got Fat. I Will Slim Down. This is the song that was reminding me that I'm fixing to lose weight and go on a strict diet. The first time when I got fat, I was eating those fatty hamburgers, fries, and all that. That's why I'm going to do something about it right now. This is the song that I wrote about I'm sorry that I got fat. I will slim down."
That's incredible.
I love that.
So
What you couldn't see is he was doing his snack treat fingers
Yes.
the whole
the
time.
whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh
Fringe
my God.
artists, man, if you're listening, share with us your favorite Fringe artists. I don't know if
you know
you
what?
guys...
I want to share one of mine.
Please, yeah.
Shirley Ardell Mason.
Don't know.
She actually died here in Lexington, or not here in Lexington, we're in Richmond, but in Lexington in 1998 at the age of 75. You may actually know her by a different name. Sybil.
Oh, that's
whoa.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The famous movie
Didn't know
and
that.
the book
Was
and
from
everything.
Kentucky?
Well, she moved to Kentucky and
Okay.
actually taught art in Lexington.
Really?
And she would paint. She was very, very well known for her personality. What was it? What's the actual dissociative identity disorder?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And some people say that it's real. Some people say that it was fake. But the Hedley Whitney Museum in
Mhm.
Lexington actually did a display several years ago of her artwork, of her different
Really?
paintings. And they would say she knew which personality painted different
That's
pieces.
cool.
And it was very interesting because they all were different styles. They had different subjects. One of my favorite one is called Pink Flags.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all of these blues and greens, and it's these sailboats, and it's very abstract. But it would have, like, the top of the sailboats would have these little pink flags that were just like this. And she had another one that was called, I think it was called Blue is the Color of Love.
Okay.
And I really
that.
just found it to be absolutely fascinating. And then the art, I loved the artwork anyway,
Right.
but it was just really, really
Cool.
cool.
Right
It was
on.
really,
Check that
really
out.
cool.
Okay.
But yeah, she's actually one of my favorite painters.
I love lesser known artists, man.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Well, I think that's our show.
That's our
so.
show.
That's our show for
All
today.
right, y'all go out and find you some snack treats. Bye.
Got to do the hands though.
Yeah, you're doing them right now.
A restaurant where they buy food to eat. It is a good place to listen to the music. People flock here to get down to the rock music. Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's.